Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video with Tank People today. And what we're doing today? Well, boys and girls, we are on World of Tanks console. That's right. What we're doing is that we're going to be taking a look at the double-barreled Russian heavies. That's right. They're firing out on World Tanks console. And one other thing before we go completely in depth about this machine and stuff, or not just this machine, but all three of the Tech Tree vehicles. I know I'm a little bit late on this, a little bit party, and I'm sorry for that, but I am saying thank you to everyone that has stayed with the channel, um, with the things that's been going on. It's just been a epic, like, journey, and the New Year's and stuff. So yeah, if you haven't already watched Talkman Tank, I would recommend go do that. Episode 17 of Talkman Tank. But I don't think you guys are here to know about all that. Let's get right into what these vehicles look like and all that. So they do start from tier 8, as you can see here, the tier 8 right here. But, of course, like always, we're also going to go over the armor, the gun, a little bit of stats about each one. And first of all, it does get AP, which, there, APCR, and HE. So it does get all of that, Patrimix as well. And you're probably wondering about the gun, which it does have the two guns, but they're both the same, so they both get the same pen and damage. So your AP rounds gets 212, your APCR rounds gets 238, and HE gets 43. Damage is 180 for both your APs, your AP and APCR, and your HE gets 300 damage. But what kind of gun we got? We got a 85mm D5T gun, or TD gun. The rate of fire is 8.5 seconds. Accuracy at 100 meters is 0.40. And also can carry up to 34 rounds with this gun. So yeah, okay, pretty decent there, I guess. Next gun is a 100mm S34D gun. The rate of fire is 5.88. Accuracy at 100 meters is 0.40. Damage is 300. Pen at 100 meters is 221. It gets also AP, APCR, and HE. And maximum munitions capability is 37. I don't think that will show us every stat about the gun, but more likely it will. Oh, what I did there. Okay. So, hang on. Detailed stats. That's the full detailed stats about the tank. But I guess let's go ahead and cover the armor with this machine, shall we? So, yeah, as you can see here, the armor does look alright, I guess. I mean, depending on which way you're looking at, as a tier 8 vehicle. So, yeah. So, first of all, we get 20mm thickness, which is the tracks and the belly and the roof deck of the turret and the engine deck. Which the tracks acts like space armor, so if you're firing HE or heat round set, it's not going to do much effect. Then we have 25mm thickness, which is the frontal part, or maybe the forehead of the tank, as you want to say. We got 30mm thickness, which is the turret ring, the gun, and the above where the driver sits. 40mm thickness, which is looks like right below the gun mantlet and above the gun mantlet. 35mm thickness, which is a little bit right there. If you can see that, that's very small indeed. And then we have 50mm thickness, which is again very small area. We got 60mm thickness, which is the butt of the tank, and also one of the commander's hatch and the driver's hatch as well. 65mm thickness, which is the other, like, cupola on top, which is also has these little tiny bits in front of the tank. 70mm thickness, which is these other little bits again. Around 75mm thickness, which is these two left and right little bits right here, which is sloped. 80, which is the driver's port, and on the sides of the gun mantlet right there, as you can see. Around 85mm thickness, which looks like it's again very small target spots. So I don't know if anybody's really going to be trying to aim for those, but okay. 90mm thickness, which looks like it's the sides of the hull in the rear of the turret as well. So yeah, it does like that. Okay. Around 95 meter thickness, which is these little bits right here. Huh. Okay. And that one that cupolas on top and little bits and bobs. The size of the turn is 100 meter thickness, which is not, I guess not that bad. 105 is which is these little bits, especially these little silpines right here. 110 for the upper plate, which I guess if you're using a full gun depression, you could kind of make that work just a little bit, but probably not the best because it's Russian, so the gun depression is probably not going to be that good. A little bit on the side with 110, but yeah. We got 115, which again is two little bits that is very much small. 120, which again is more little tiny bits in there, like the slopeness and stuff. 125, which is two spots left and right of the tank. 130, which is above the gun mantlet and little bits here and there. And 135, which is used again sloped spots. 140, which is, well, again, a little bit more other little spots. 145, no more a little bit of slopeness. And 150, which is the turret ring, looks like. And again, the slope of the sides right there, as you can see. So I guess this thing is going to be somewhat armored. And 155 with a low plate. I would expect the upper plate to be a little bit more than what it is. But I guess the lower plate is even more thicker, I guess. With a slight slopeness to it too. So yeah. And we have 160, which is around the gun mantlet and stuff. And also the sides, both left and right of the tank. 165, which is again both left and right. 170, which is a very small spot right there. You probably wouldn't really be hitting there if you were even trying to. 180, which is the front of the looks like near the turret ring and the front of the turret right there a little bit. 185, which is two bits right there, and that's all I can see. 190, which again is from the gun mantlet and left and right of the hull. 195, which is two little bits beside left and right of the gun mantlet. 205, which is, well, these little bits near the gun mantlet and on the gun mantlet. 215, which is left and right of the gun mantlet. And 217, which is, looks like right above the gun, above, below and above the gun a little bit, it looks like. That's what I can see here. And then 120, which is the mid plate of the hull and plus the mid part of where the guns are sitting at as well. So I guess it's not that bad if you look at it as a armor respect for this vehicle. I mean, it is the first one you're going to be getting, the IS-2, which is a very, very freaking weird name. And plus you get 1,450 hit points with this vehicle as well. So not that bad. But then I guess let's go back over here and let's look at the remaining other two tanks with the double beard featured. No, I do not have the XP for that right at this moment. The next tank is the IS-3-2, which this vehicle does look like it does have the IS-3's tall, just enlarged a little bit more, and the turret looks a little bit weirder. So yeah, okay. But what does this tank also have? And can we look at the ammunition types? That's the armor. So we got AP, APCR, and HE. Okay. And of course, the pen for the stock gun is 221. For its standard AP, its APCR gets 256, and HE gets 50. Damage is 300 for both AP and APCR, and 360 for the HE. Of course, it gets a 1,780 hit points. So yeah, okay. Can we look at the stock gun though? So the stock gun gets a rate of fire of 7.50. Accuracy at 100 meters is 0.38, and we can carry up to 37 rounds. Not bad for the stock gun, which the stock gun is a 100 meter S34D gun. So yeah. But it looks like we not only get that gun, but we also get, of course, a new turret. But we also get two other different types of 122 guns. The first one is a 122mm S342. The rate of fire is 4.72. Accuracy 100 meters is 0.42. Damage is 390. Pen is 226. And then you also get AP, APCR, and AG. And you can carry up to 37 rounds. Okay, well, then the next gun. Well, sadly, it doesn't show me much about that gun, so I can't really tell you guys about it. But it's a 122mm DL9 SD gun. Um, like I said, it's not telling me because I don't have the turret upgrade and can't really show you about that gun. Don't think there's any way of actually getting the stats pulled up on this gun, sadly. But if I'm correct, there's other vehicles that comes with the BL9 gun, so it might have the same stats as other vehicles with the BL9 gun. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. And again, I went too far back. Okay, now let's look at the armor of the vehicle, and this vehicle does look a little bit better. With that pike nose, you're just going to want to face the enemy like this, and hide that lower plate of yours. Because once you hide that lower plate, you're definitely making the armor more better. Because if you start turning this way, you make this way, hang on, you make over here look more weaker than you would over on this side. This side would become a ricochet zone. So over this way will become a much more weaker spot to hit. But like I said, if you play the IS-3, hide your little plate as much as you can and just point at the enemy front forge. Probably this little driver's port right here is probably going to be pretty weak, but yeah. Let's get into the armor. So we got 10 meter thickness, 20 meter thickness, which is the tracks, the belly of the tank, the roof of the turret, and the engine deck. Around 30 meter thickness, which is the sides of the hull. 40 meter thickness, which is the guns. 52 meters thickness, which is the forehead of the tank. 55 meter thickness, which is the driver's port. 60 meter thickness, which is the rear of the tank, the butt of the tank. 80 meter thickness, which is the sides, but it looks like they're sloping a little bit, so that's going to help this tank out pretty good bit if they're sloping like that, because simply just making it easier for you to side scrape and stuff. 85 meter thickness, which is the, well, right here. This little bit right there. Better you should have used the mouse earlier. Around 90 meter thickness, which is the other part of the sides of the hull. Around 105 meter thickness, which is the sides of the gun mantlet. 110, which is, well, these little bits above where the hull, the turret is, the hull. 115, which is the left and right of the hull. And 120 for, well, the rear of the turret and the rear of the, looks like maybe that could be the turret ring and the lower plate. So yeah, the lower plate is 120, still pretty weak though, so don't rely upon that. We have 125, which it looks like it's a very small spot again. It's right in here, if you can see where I'm pointing my mouse at, circling around. So a very small spot, no one's not coming hitting that. 130, which is above the gun mantlet. 135, which is below the gun mantlet, and little bits here and there around the turret. 140, which looks like it's the turret ring and the sides of the turret, especially back there near the ammo rack. 145, and like I said, if you're just pointing your front at the enemy like this, you're basically making this very thickly armored, though if you are fighting against those tier 10s, and this is a tier 9, so I don't know if this is going to really work for you, but you could try it. But yeah, I guess you could say as long as you just don't turn this tank left and right, you should be fine against lower tier tanks. But higher tier, like tier 9s and 10s, yeah, but this thing is a tier 9, so it's going to be seeing a lot of tier 9s, it's going to be seeing a lot of tier 10s, so it's going to be surprising how this thing's going to work. So we got 150, which is the forward part of the turret and somewhat the turret ring. We have 155, which is these two little bits here. 160, which again is right above and below the gun mantlet. 165, which again, it's a little tiny spots around the gun mantlet. 170 around the turret, little bits and bobs here and there. 175, which is looks like little bits below the gun mantlet. 180, which again is little bits and bobs around the turret front. 185, again little bits and bobs around the turret gun mantlet. And 190, more little bobs and bibs like right here. There's a lot right here on this side. Is there is on the nope, not that side, but this side there is. All right, 195, which is the gun mantlet here and there as well. 200 meter thickness, which is little spots around the turret and stuff like that. 205, which it is a very small spot again there, guys. I will point out for you. Right in here. That's a very small spot, if you ask me. 215, which again is a very small spot. You can barely freaking see this thing. Right here. 220, which is, well, near the cheeks of the gun mantlet, or the cheeks of the turret. 230, which is again is around the gun mantlet, right above, below, left, and right. And then 240, which is right there near the guns, right behind the guns and stuff. So don't be shooting it at the gun mantlet. This thing for the turret does look like it's going to be stronger than the previous tank. So yeah, and I think this is also true for talking about how the turret is on a stock turret. And I'm sorry for that for my dog barking in the background. That is a little Scooby-Dooby-Doo in the background, barking and stuff like that. But yeah, Skisco, come here. I don't think you want to say hi there, guys. I am sorry for that. But that is definitely the stock turret for the IS-3 2. Next tank will be the last tank of the line, I guess you could say, with that respect of being the last tank, the IS-2, or not IS-2, ST-2. Why am I thinking IS? I guess I'm thinking of the previous two tanks in the line, but this is definitely the last tank of the line. And this tank does get AP, heat, and HE. So yeah. But let's talk about how the gun works, or both guns, because they're both the same guns. So the pen for the standard AP rounds is 258. Its heat rounds is 310, and its HE rounds is 68 meters a pen. Damage is 440 for both its AP and heat, and 530 damage for its HE. It gets 2,500 hit points, so yeah, pretty nice. And no upgrades, of course, is a tier 10, but some tier 10s do get nice upgrades. So let's talk about the 122mm M62 SD gun. The rate of fire is 40.80 rounds per minute. Accuracy 100 meters is 0.40 meters. And of course, you can carry up to 20 rounds. Yeah. And of course, they're both the same gun, so it really doesn't particularly matter what you're doing with that part. But I guess let's look at the one spot that you probably really want to know about is the armor. And by telling you of this machine's armor, the turret is definitely going to be a big, strong spot for this vehicle at tier 10. Though how good it's going to be with its hull against some of those high-hitting, damaging guns like Panzer E-100 and a couple new hard-hitting guns that came out not too long ago. That's premium tier 10. So yeah, we'll see how this is going to work. So we get 20 meter thickness, which is the tracks of the hull, which again, if you fire HE and heat at them, they're not going to do much effect. So most of your effectiveness will be between AP and APCR. We have 30 meters thickness, which is the belly of the tank, the top of the turret, and the engine deck. Again, and it looks like a little bit around the turret gun mantlet, maybe. We have 60 meters thickness, which is in the rear of the, or below the rear of the turret. And then 100 meters thickness, which is the forehead, the top of the driver's port, and the rear of the tank back here. 125, which is the left and right of the gun driver's port. 130, which is both left and right of the forehead of the tank. 140, which is the sides of the hull and the sides of well, where the guns are sitting at. 145, which is the front of the gun mantlet. I mean, not gun mantlet. The I'm sorry for that, guys. The front, or is that the front? I guess you could say. The driver's port. Then we have 150, which is the upper plate, which I guess if you start using some of your gun depression, you could probably make the armor somewhat work. Yeah. Then we have 155 both left and right, which is basically like the cheeks of the hull. Then we have 160, which is the rear and the sides, well, a little bit of the sides of the turret and the turret ring. We have 165, which is the left and right of the driver's port. 180 for the lower plate and some bits of the sides of the turret and the driver's port. 190, which is one of the cupolas on top, or the commander's hatch, which would probably be the weak spot of this vehicle. 195, which looks like it's the sides of the gun mantlet right there. 200 meter thickness, which is above the gun mantlet and left and right of the turret. And then we have 205 meter thickness, which is the front, very front of the driver's port, and both above the gun mantlet a little bit right there. 210, both left and right of the gun mantlet on the turret and on the sides of the gun mantlet. 215, which is these little bits again, very much small bits that what I'm telling you about this vehicle, you do not want to shoot at the front of the turret. 235, which is right below the gun mantlet and kind of on the gun mantlet. 250, which is all around the gun mantlet. 280, which again is also on the gun mantlet a little bit here and there, as you can see. 290, again around the front face of the turret, and also looks like maybe even down here at the turret ring as well. So the turret ring does look like it's going to be pretty well armored. Again, another 220, which again, it looks like it is down here at the front face of the turret ring, and again, around the gun mantlet as well. 225, well, again, it's around the gun mantlet and around the face of the front of the tank, and 350, which is where the guns are basically stationed at right here. So yeah, that to me tells me that if you're facing someone, you just want to face the turret. Maybe hide your hull if you can, in like behind a rock maybe or something like that, and just show your turret face. Though do keep in mind that if you do start showing and people knows the like overmatch mechanics, they can overmatch probably this little bit right here, or just aim if they're accurate enough for your local POA. So do keep that in mind that if you do that, you're just going to have to make sure you go back and forth, so that way you can keep your little weak spot hidden and make sure no one hits the forehead of the tank as well if they have an overmatch mechanic and stuff. So that is something important to keep a more note upon about this vehicle. But you know, I do think it's a nice vehicle, at least a nice touch, or at least all three of these new Russian heavy tanks is a brand new touch. And of course, you gotta hear Scooby in the background a little bit in this video today, so a little bit of excitement for Skusco talking in the background in Rover Tanks console. Ain't that right, Skusco? Yeah, but yeah, I gotta say, all these vehicles do look pretty nice, and there is, of course, the Tier 8 Premium, if you haven't picked out when the Black Sale did came down for that. Um, Again, I'm not real sure about the live stream, though, yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it tonight or maybe tomorrow, if we can get this live stream done for this season. If not, then I'll just try to do it for the next season, though, guys. I'm sorry for that, but it's the only thing I got to say. So, but at least we got to look at these awesome new Russian double-barreled heavy tanks, and they're finally on World Tanks console. And like I said, this is just a little bit of the stats of the vehicle. I could probably go in huger, more bigger depths and details about these vehicles, but I kind of want to leave that for more like actual tank reviews of each one in their own little way. I know we're still down at lower tiers and stuff, but hopefully we'll work up to this tier. And sorry for that, because I didn't hit my mic. But yeah, um, let me know what you think about these vehicles. Have you already have the tier 10? And if you do you like these vehicles? Do you think they're nice to play? Are they a struggle, or what are they? I know I want to work my way up to this vehicle. I do have the tier 8, so yeah. Let me know what you guys think about these vehicles. And if you don't have them, well, what do you think about them? Are you going to get these vehicles if you haven't gotten them yet? Do you have a plan of actually researching them and getting up to tier 10? Is that going to be part of your plan, or what? Please let me know in the comments down below. But that's going to be it for this video there, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to. And like always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye for now.